What's up, everyone? I'm making a video on my iPhone because I'm too lazy and my computer is broken. Anyways, I wanted to talk about what I'm scared for with the new Animal Crossing games. You can see it right here, bigger and better. Where to go from here? Crafting tools, location. So yeah, let's break it down. What I'm scared for the new Animal Crossing games, it really boils down to I was not the biggest fan of New Horizons. It is such a polarizing game because you have people that absolutely love it. They die for it. They, to this day, probably still play it. And then you have people like myself where it's more just like we're leaning towards the it's fine to the I hated it. I was not a big fan of the crafting, like, at all. Not at all. It was a neat gimmick, but after a certain point you're just like, okay, like, I don't want this. But anyways, let's start with the first point, bigger and better. I think my issue with Nintendo, I love them, and this is just with any game. Truly, it's with any game, but Nintendo does this a lot as well. They will have a game. They will have a hit game, and they will continue, not even a hit game. They'll just have a game, and they'll continue to make more and more and more of that specific game. But Nintendo, and again, other companies, but Nintendo especially does the thing where they're like, okay, where do you go from here? You know, from City Folk to New Leaf, there were so many changes. Hold on. Look, guys, you know, we started here. You had the city in City Folk, it was great. I loved it, you know. It didn't have much. You had Gracie Grace. You had the auction, which never in my life was I able to use that. You had the Happy Home Academy, you had the Shrunk, you had the hair salon, you had a few things. The city was nothing perfect, nothing great. But then you had that separate section of the town, the City Folk town, which was great. And then in New Leaf, boom. Actually, I just saved this because I want to do this. But in New Leaf, you had the town itself, which was a little bit bigger than City Folk. It had a bit more to do. You could now swim in the ocean, but then it had a separate section very similar to the city, but more fleshed out. You had Able Sisters. You had things that could slowly, like, look, there's nothing here. This becomes Harriet's. At the moment, it's not Harriet's. New Leaf was really the pioneer of like you start with nothing and you slowly build up to, like, you start with nothing and you have upgrades, which I think is great. And then New Horizons, you went back to having Tom Nooks and then the upgraded ones. But they added so many different things to the game, which is great. The crafting, the terraforming, etc., etc. Again, all great. But then from New Horizons, Animal Crossing and Nintendo as a whole will not step back. I don't think they're going to remove crafting. I don't think they're going to remove terraforming. Nintendo's probably thinking Animal Crossing New Horizons was a huge, huge bestseller. How do we make it better than it already was? In their opinion, they thought it was great. In my opinion, whatever. So again, that's my biggest issue. Nintendo is going to try to make it better and better. Again, they will not step back. 99%. On my mother, on my dog. They will not take away crafting. They may take away tools breaking, but like overall, they're not going to change too many things, right? The location, a deserted island, I have a feeling they won't do that again. If they did, I don't know why they would. So that's my first issue. That's what the biggest thing I'm scared for. They're going to try to get better and bigger and better and better. Like, how do you do that? First of all, without losing what makes Animal Crossing Animal Crossing. Because in my opinion, New Horizons kind of lost the plot of Animal Crossing. It has certain things that are like, oh yeah, this is so Animal Crossing. But then other things for me, I'm just like, girl, what is this? What is this? So again, where do you go from here? You don't step back. What I suspect they're going to do is build off of it, you know, build off of the deserted island and build off of everything, you know. It's like, but again, how do you build off from something? Like, to me, we started off as a villager who moved into a pre-made town. Each game that came out, it came out more and more and more. You look at it and you're just like, okay, Like, we get a little more responsibility. You know, city folk, the responsibility is you just have a city. You can ride a bus, you can go to the city, you can buy stuff. That's it. There's not much to it. And the New Leaf, that's when they kind of introduce like hey, you're not just a villager. Like you're the mayor. Then New Horizons, you're the representative for the island, but also you can freaking terraform. So like, again, it's one of those just like, where do you go from here? Do you, because again, you can't strip away the power that you've already given to people. Like, even if they wanted to, let's say New Horizons sold 50,000 copies. Like, 50,000, I'm an idiot. What was it? Wasn't it like millions? Let's just say 50 million. That sounds like a lot. But let's say New Horizons sold 50 million. I'm betting minimum half of those people have never played Animal Crossing in their life. If you make a new Animal Crossing game and you strip away all this freedom, these new players are going to be like, girl, what? Old players are going to be like, cool, back to the roots. But new players are going to be like, what? Why can I not do this? Why can I not do that? So again, where do you go from here? You either keep it the same and add new stuff, or you completely like change the formula, which it's like, would Nintendo do that? I don't know. Once again, the crafting, I think crafting is going to stay. 1,000% crafting is going to stay. I hope, and I'm going to assume Nintendo is going to listen to everybody's. Now that I know the Switch 2 is probably coming out in 2025, but the Switch 2 is here. It is announced. I'm like, oh, okay. I wonder if they just didn't change anything with Animal Crossing, like the problems with crafting. Why can't we craft more than one at a time? I wonder if they're just like, we'll keep this game as is. We gave them what we want. We'll keep all the new ideas for the next game. That way people, whether or not if they like the game, they're like, oh my God, they fixed the crafting. I can craft 20 at a time. Thank God. So maybe they're saving the changes for those things. I don't freaking know, bro. Tools. Hear me out. I both like and dislike the broken tool mechanic. I think my biggest thing is like golden tools. I never even got golden tools. I never played long enough to unlock those. But golden tools for me, if we unlock golden tools, I think they should not break. I think they shouldn't break, you know? I think having the Nook Mile achievements where it's like break X amount of tools, I think that would keep people still making those broken tools just until they complete all that. But like maybe make golden tools unbreakable really, really late game. Because, again, I have no problem with my tools breaking. In Breath of the Wild, guess what? I didn't care about my tools breaking. It was neat. It's a neat part of the game. It's frustrating in Animal Crossing, but it also gets you like, okay, hey, you know, I need to go around my town, need to gather some supplies. Because to me, I like the beginning of the game because it's like you're constantly foraging. You're constantly getting stuff. So, like, again, I don't care about the thing breaking, but it's like at a certain point, they should not always break. You feel me? And then I guess the last thing I'll talk about is location. Like for me, it's like, again, where do you go from here? We start off Animal Crossing GameCube, population growing. You start off there and it's like you go to a town. That's it. You go to a town. You actually could go to an island as well if you had the Game Boy. But that's it. You know, essentially just a town. You know, Wild World. You go to a town, it's a little bigger, you know? You can visit other people's towns easier now. City folk, you had the city, right? It was tiny, but hey, you had the city. New Leaf. Animal Crossing New Leaf for the 3DS. You had that little shopping center. You had the island. You had so many places, so many things to do, so many amenities. And then New Horizons, it's like, boom, you're on a really big, cool-looking island. But again, it goes back to this. Where do you go from here? The location. You're at an island. Is Nintendo going to bring us back to an island? Like, you cannot go... It seems like every iteration of the game, it's like you get more and more freedom, but they strip more and more from the game to give you that freedom. So it's like, instead of starting in a town, you start in an island that you do everything. Next game, what is more desolate? I don't even think I'm using that word right. What is more barren than an empty island? Like, do you go to a rundown town and you're like, not a renovator, but like, you get what I'm saying? Like, where location? What could they do? Like, technically, they could do an island again. I think my biggest problem is like, I'm gonna buy Animal Crossing no matter what. But for some people who maybe aren't the biggest fan of Animal Crossing or blah 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 blah, it's a hard sell. I think they're gonna be like, okay, why do I need to Switch 2 to play this new Animal Crossing game that's still on an island if I could just play New Horizons, you know? Like, because technically, you've had a town in GameCube, a town in Wild World, a town on the Wii, a town on the 3DS. So, like, reusing that towns works, but the second you added in that island, it's now like, okay, are we going to have an island again? But if you do an island again, how do you make the new Animal Crossing different enough from the old Animal Crossing? Because people had a problem with that, with Wild World and City Folk. People were like, why do I want City Folk? It's just Wild World on the Wii with worse controls. It's just Wild World on the Wii. It's the same damn music. Like, it has the city doesn't really give you that much. So it truly is just like, what can they do for the location? Because even for me, I'm seriously like, first of all, I'm tired of the island. If we had our own island, like if we had a town and then we had a separate island similar to New Leaf, but if we could decorate the island, I don't freaking know. But it truly is just like, you got to think about it from many points of views, because it's just like, why would I, like, I'm gonna buy an Animal Crossing game again, but it's just like longevity. Like, why do I want another island, you know? But if they do the island, like I said, they have to make it completely change. Like, you need to add a lot of stuff. It can't be Wild World to City Folk changes. Not enough changes. I still played the crap out of it because I love Animal Crossing, but it still is just like, you know, what do you do from here? Thanks for watching. If you got to this point, let me know your thoughts and opinions. What you're scared for the new Animal Crossing game. What do you want for the new Animal Crossing game? Are you going to buy it? Are you going to buy a Switch 2? Subscribe. I don't ask people to do that. I don't really care about subscribers. Feel free to subscribe, but I post a lot, so you wouldn't like what I post. It's my channel. Bye.